Good morning, and we are live, and it is Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday, and today we'll be speaking on sprays and different things that you can use in your garden. And we'll be talking gardening today, organic gardening. Yep. So it will be a pretty good day. What the heck is this in my way? All right. Here we go. Trying to see my comments and chats. All right, there we go. And we're back, and I'm gonna wait a while. I don't know if T is gonna pop in, if Nella's gonna pop in this morning or not, but getting my notes ready. I'll probably wait till about 10 after, maybe a couple of minutes after, before I start talking about these tips for organic gardening. And I got a lot of information that's going to be very helpful if you're trying to grow your garden and do it organically and save it from pests. I got sprays that I'm going to explain how to mix, and that you can spray, and I'm going to explain how to use it, when to use it, when not to use it. And we're going to just figure this thing out, and so everybody can grow good, healthy, nutritious vegetables. What's up, JB? Alma, good morning. Glad to have you on. And got a couple of secrets that I'm going to pass along today that should be pretty nice for your garden, and some things I know people have never heard of before. Good morning, Lee. Just here for a few. Okay. Yep. So that's what we'll be doing this morning. Hey, Karen Dickinson. So get your ink pen and a piece of paper this morning. If you plan on doing some gardening, you're going to want to write some of this stuff down. It's going to save you a lot of money. No chemicals in your yard. So it's all, everything is going to be all natural and organic. So and thrifty. About the most expensive thing that you'll be putting in this one. I'll explain about that later. And it's really not expensive either. But it will keep your cabbage and your tomatoes and your real leafy green vegetation from being eaten. your squash, stuff that the caterpillars and white flies like to eat up. And the white flies, they lay their eggs on the plants, and that's what eat them up. It's not the flies themselves; it's their larvae. Yep. So I'm gonna wait till we get a few more folks on this morning, and let me see if I can get Neela's butter on here this morning. Let's find out if she's gonna pop on. I would like to have her come on this morning and pray. All right, here we go. Let me mute mine for a second. All right. Hey, Rochelle, good morning. Karen Dickinson, good morning. And so this morning, since it's Wisdom Wednesdays, I did say that I was going to talk about gardening, organic gardening this morning, and some sprays to get rid of pests for your gardens that are all organic and natural. I was just trying to wait for a few people to get on. Hey, Kimberly Mixon Dixon, good morning. I just text Neela. I don't know if I'm trying to get her to come on and pray before we get started. So I don't know if she'll be able to, but I did text her to see. So hopefully she'll come on. But I don't know what if she got she say she's gonna try in about 10 or 15 minutes. We not waiting that long. Nope, it's already been 10 or 15 minutes. It's 12 after 9. So she can come on and pray before we go off this morning. And I'm just checking the chats and see how many folk we got in here. I'm trying to wait for Frugal Mama. And I don't know if Frugal and Busy gonna be on today, but I try to wait for them when I do this segment because I know Busy and Frugal got gardens. So we'll figure this out in a minute. But it's a beautiful day. Sun shining. Not too hot, not too cool. So it's really nice here in the ATL today. It's supposed to be about 82. So that's a good temperature for the high, because this is still like mid-spring, coming toward the beginning of summer. We got at least another 2 or 3 weeks of spring, maybe 2 weeks. What is this? The second week of April? Yeah, because when does summer start? About the middle of May. So we got about 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe, yeah. Yep. And some things, I'll be talking about that, the timing of what you're planting. Some plants do well early spring into summer. Then other plants do well in the heat of summer. And then other plants are better for the end of summer, like your wintergreens and your cabbages, because they can take the coolness of fall. Your pumpkins and stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that really flourish. And your squash, from the end of August into September and October, these type of vegetables really flourish. Your wintergreens, wintergreens, I'm talking about like cabbage. Cabbage, mustard greens, collard greens, kale, all of those. Spinach, not too much. Spinach is more of a spring green. It ain't too cool hardy. But the other ones, the first day of summer is June 21st. Ooh, Lord, we got a lot of days before. Well, I don't consider the end of June ain't summer to me, because it's hot as hell by June the 1st. So here in the South anyway, so up north, I would consider that the start of summer. But here in the South, by the end of May, it will be in the 90s every day, even before the end of May. So you have to do your garden according to what region you live in the country. And so you just have to kind of play it by ear, because sometimes seasons change and it ain't according to the book. Like sometimes you get an early winter, you get an early fall or early summer, or spring sprung earlier. It's just according to how stuff go in nature. So I'm going to get started. And today we'll be talking about insects in your garden and 10 tips on how to get rid of pests when you have an infestation in your garden. And natural, all natural and organic. So here we go. And the first one is keeping your plants healthy and strong and vibrant, because pests are drawn to plants that are weak. It's the way nature is set up. These insects don't just come because they want to eat your garden. The way the Creator made these insects, weak leaves and weak plants are eaten by the pests. And that's to eliminate weak foliage so that the strong will survive. And so if you keep your plants healthy and strong, I'm not saying that they won't eat it at all, but they are drawn to decaying plants or the breakdown of the leaves. So you want to keep your plants strong. And by keeping them strong, I mean, you got to feed them the right nutrients. You got to have them planted in the right areas. You want to have good soil and compost mixture so your soil is loose. You don't want, if you live in an area like where I live, clay is real prominent here in Georgia. That red soil is not sandy, it's not loose, it's tight. If you know you have clay in your soil, if you dig some up and you wet it a little bit and you can mash it and actually form it like you could a piece of clay, you know you have an extreme amount of clay in your soil. So what you want to do is mix compost in there and perlite. Perlite is the little pieces of, it looks like styrofoam, but it's actually to make your soil more loose, you know, so that when your roots are trying to penetrate, if you got clay, you know, it's hard for the roots to penetrate that. So it really had to fight, you know, in order to dig in. Whereas if that soil is loose and you have compost and perlite in it, then that soil is loose. So when your plants grow, the root system starts to grow, it doesn't have to fight. It just, and then the bigger your root system, the bigger the plant. And then if you're growing carrots or potatoes or any type of vegetable, radishes that grow underground, then you're going to want to have loose soil, because then you're going to have a bigger harvest. Your potatoes will be growing easier, your carrots and your radishes and all your different veggies that grow underground. You know, even on your greens, you got turnip greens, you want to have loose soil. If you like turnip bottoms, when you harvest your greens, if you harvest your turnip bottoms, then, you know, you want to have loose soil so they can really grow and get a nice size and make your plants nice, vibrant, and healthy. You want to keep them watered. And when you water, never water in the heat of the day. That's for your lawn. That's for anything, flowers, anything. You never want to wet plants in the heat of the day, because as it's being evaporated from the sun, is creating steam. So it's cooking your plants, and eventually it's going to kill them. If you're watering at that time of day and then you stop the water, if you're watering at the heat of the day, you got to let that water keep watering all until the sun, all day, until that sun starts to deplete. And so 9 times out of 10, you're going to be overwatering, because some plants don't need a ton of water, or some flowers don't need a lot of water. Others do. So you have to do a little bit of research on your plants so you know which ones need a lot of water and which ones don't. So we're going to move right along. And we talked about the timing. We talked about unhealthy plants and watering the veggies and knowing the right time of the growing season for what plants you have. Now, this is number 2, the timing in growing in the right season. When we talked about the wintergreens and all that, and planting it at the right time and growing and all of that. Now let's talk about harvesting those plants that you're growing in that season, because this is all a part of keeping the pests from eating up all of your veggies. Like if you're growing tomatoes, fruit flies love tomatoes. Now, if you're growing big beefsteak tomatoes and Romas, you know, they got 100 different strains of tomatoes. You know, I hate using them because they're cultivars, and cultivars is anything that has been genetically enhanced. It's a man-made plant. That's what cultivars are. So if you're dealing with cultivars, you want to try to at least find one that's you don't want, like seedless watermelon, seedless tomatoes, anything that's minus the seeds. It's not real. So I know it's easier to eat, but I'd rather spit the seeds out than use genetically enhanced products. And when you're harvesting these vegetables, you want to harvest as soon as possible. you don't want to let them stay on the vine after they're ripe at all. The first day that you see that a tomato is ripe, pick it, because the longer you leave it on the vine when it's ripe, if you notice, your vegetables, once they become fully matured, they really start to give off a scent. And when they smell good like that, the pests know that they're ready. And right after harvest, right after they've reached their full term of growth, if you don't harvest it, they start to break down. That's why things get soft, and then eventually they'll just deteriorate. So you want to harvest as soon as possible. That's very important. And that's with fruits. That's with anything on the vines. Your green beans and strawberries, anything like anything that ripens, you want to harvest right away, because right after they reach maturity, they start to deteriorate. So you really want to keep an eye on that. And so another way to keep pests from really destroying your crop is to grow a lot of something. And you want to have like some of each thing that you're growing that you just let go bad. That way it'll draw all of your pests to these plants, and they'll eat those instead of eating your good, strong, hardy crops. You give them something to eat, and it calls the insects, because like I was saying, the smell of the plants degradation, or when they're breaking down, is what calls the pests to them to eat it, because they're just part of the ecosystem. All of it, everything is connected: insects, plants, dirt, the whole nine, us, everything. So the creator knew what he was doing when he created this planet. And that's why scientists that are in quantum physics now know that there is a supreme being that created this earth plane, because the science is way too exact for the Big Bang theory. It was two asteroids that collided in a nuclear fusion, and it created atoms, and it created atmosphere, and all. That's a bunch of bull. But so let me get back to what I was talking about. But everything is connected. So when you're doing that, that's the thing is, when you're harvesting your stuff, make sure you harvest it immediately. And when you grow more and you leave them something, you let one or two plants, like say you're gonna grow 10 tomato plants, because you don't have a large garden. Say you're working out of a garden that you have in pots. So one of the pots or two of the pots you have to put tomatoes in, you let those go full term and start to rot on the vine and everything. And so everything will be drawn to that. So if you spray it, when they eat it, it'll kill them. So it'll keep the pests off of your good veggies, because you've attracted them somewhere else. It's just like using a bait trap for a mouse, and the sticky trap, and they smell it, and then they walk in there, and then they can't get out. Or a mouse trap, they smell the peanut butter, come to eat it, wham, and it's over. Same thing. So another way to keep pests out of your gardens: remove them by hand. So you really want to inspect your garden every day. Inspection is key, because if you don't need to spray or put anything on your plants because they're not being attacked, don't. So But if your plants are being eaten, and you want to look under the leaves as well, on top of the leaves and at the shaft of the plant, to see if there's aphids or mites or white fly larvae, potato beetles, caterpillars. It's a host of stuff out there that'll eat your garden. And so when you inspect it, you want to do this in the heat of the, when bright in the day, so that you can see. But you want to water early. But when you're doing this, you want to check these plants to make sure you can see it. And I know I told you don't water during the heat of the day, but you do want to see these plants. And when you get ready to water the plants to remove bugs, which you can do, you water and you just rub your fingers on the leaves and knock the pests on the ground. And if you do this, this keeps them from eating it. And I'll kill them. If I'm taking caterpillars off of plants and stuff like that, I kill them. If not, after you get them off, then you want to allow your plants to dry, and then maybe the following day you want to spray. But you don't want to wet it and then come in and spray, because if you do that, it's really a waste. Even though you'll be using oil and soap in a lot of the sprays that I gave you last week, from the baking soda and the vinegar. A lot of them you have to use soap and oil with to make it adhere to the plant. Like I'm going to give a recipe today, and you have to have oil and soap and water in order for it to work. But you don't spray before it's going to rain. You don't want to spray before it's going to be hot. Because if it's hot outside and you're spraying, like I say, you can damage your plants. Morning, Frugal Mama. Busy Mama. I was trying to wait for y'all. I waited as long as I could. I'm just talking about organic ways to manage pests in your garden today. And I don't know. I guess you could go back and look at it and see what I was talking about. I haven't given any formulations. I've just been giving tips on how to inspect your garden, when to water, when to plant. I went through a couple of things already, but what you want to do, I was talking about removing the pests by hand. And you take water and you water your leaves, and as you're watering, you actually water and rub the insects off of the leaves. And some of them you can just spray off. Some, caterpillars, they're a little more stronger, so you might have to pull those off, or while you're wetting them, you rub them and they'll fall off. And then I usually kill a lot of them and just leave them or push them down in the soil with a stick as I kill them, and they break down. That's more nitrogen. That's fertilization for your plants. And so I do a lot of that too. So this is another way. You can use nature itself. We have predator bugs that you can release in your greenhouse or in your garden, or I was going to mention this a little later, but I'll mention it now. Another way to keep bugs out of your garden, and which is a big plus, is to cover it. They have netting that you can put over your garden. So if you buy like PVC pipe and you have a raised bed garden, or maybe you just have a garden that's in the ground, you can buy PVC pipe and easily make a cover for your raised bed or for your garden that's in the ground. And all you have to do is buy sections of PVC pipe You don't have to buy the great big thick pieces. You can buy the real small skinny ones, because the only thing you're going to be doing is stretching a netting over it. And this will keep the birds from eating your strawberries and your sweet fruits and veggies that attract the birds, because birds will eat your garden too. And there's really not much you can do, because you can't, kill the birds. So a lot of people cover their stuff, or you can mask the scent of what you're growing. And I'll talk about that too. So when you're building this cover for your garden, all you need is PVC pipe, and you get the T connectors. And when you put a T connector on there, you have a opening at the top and an opening on each side of the pipe. And then you run your pipes laterally. And then you have, like, say, if you have a 8x4 raised bed, so it's 8 feet long and it's 4 feet wide. So you need to get pipes that are 8 feet long for each side, and then 4 feet wide to go across to connect your bottom. But when you're doing your top, you have to allow for the bow. So you probably will want like a 10-foot piece. That's going to allow you to have height to where when you come over your raised bed, it'll make like that bow that you see greenhouses done. And if you go on YouTube, they have videos on how to build those covers out of the PVC pipe. You can actually build a greenhouse out of them. You have to buy the bigger gauge, but when you're just covering your garden, you can use the small gauge PVC. And you buy the netting and all of that. You can go online and buy everything you need. And when you put that netting over it, you have an opening on the along the lateral sides of it. So all you had to do is just roll up the netting when you need access to it. And I guess you could use a piece of Velcro, a piece of duct tape, whatever you want to use to hold it up so you can access your garden, when you're harvesting, or maybe you need to pull some weeds, but you could just roll that netting up and get what you need done. And when you're spraying and watering, you can water through the netting. It's not going to hurt it. But I suggest if you're going to use sprays for pests, you want to make sure that it gets under the leaves as well. So spraying through a net is not going to allow that. So you have to roll it up so that you can get under your leaves when you're spraying your organic chemicals for pests. And so that's another way that we keep them out of there. And if you like Alicia and you have chickens, that's another way that you keep pests out of it, because chickens forage for insects. So you can let them walk through your garden. You don't want to if you're growing stuff that grows on the ground, like strawberries, they're not really good for that. You probably will want to use ducks, because ducks don't scratch the ground. Chickens will scratch the ground, so they can do damage to those types of plants that grow along the ground when they're young. Once they get hardy, then it's okay. But when you've had those chickens, they will eat caterpillars, ticks, mites, aphids. They eat every kind of insect, and they actually scratch in the ground and eat the larvae of fruit flies and white flies, and so they're nipping it in the bud, and it's all natural because you're not using any chemicals, and this is just nature's way of providing stuff for itself. It's way of cleaning itself and ridding one thing from another, kind of like You have predator bugs that you can use as well. You can go online and you can purchase ladybugs, and you can purchase praying mantis, and you can release them in your greenhouse. And you can release them in your netted areas. Or if you just have a garden, if you just release them in the open, they're going to stay in your garden because it's a smorgasbord for them. If you got aphids in there and you got insects in your garden, they're not going to leave because they can hide in the garden and they got all the food they want. It's water, so they don't have to do nothing. All they do is stay right there. Now, when you're spraying and you're using those type of bugs, some things won't harm the predator bugs, but some will, because just soap and water actually keeps a lot of insects off of it. So if you're going to use that type of defense where you're using ladybugs and praying mantis, and they have other ones that you could get. They have these small wasps that eat caterpillars, but a lot of people don't want to be bothered with wasps because they sting. But if you have a large infestation of leaf cutting caterpillars, it's a good thing if to release those out into your garden, and they'll take care of the business for you. But when you're going to use that, you want to stay away from using your sprays. And so you want to use your sprays early. I don't mean in the morning, I mean in the seasons, in the spring and early summer. Towards late summer, if you're going to use predator bugs, that'll be a better time to do it. But I prefer to use the sprays, the homemade sprays and stuff, because it could be a little costly purchasing insects. It's according to how big a garden you have, and if you got a small garden on your patio, or, you just got a couple of raised beds, you could go and just buy some ladybugs and release them in there, and then they're not super expensive. But you can go right on Amazon and just say predator bugs, for your garden, and boop, it'll give you 1,000 different companies. You know how Amazon is. And so now we talked about chickens and using natural predators for pests. Now let's go into sprays and other stuff we could use. Let's talk about the diversity of growing plants, which is important too. If you grow a lot of one thing together, then it's going to draw its natural pests to it immediately, because you're growing a lot of the same thing. So if you're going to grow a herb garden, don't plant your herbs all together. Plant them out in your areas of the garden. Like you want to put basil and stuff around your tomatoes, because if you notice, you can have all of the herbs you want and they'll never be eaten by pests because they don't like it, because they're too pungent. They won't eat the leaves. They won't eat the root systems. Like if especially if you're growing like bell peppers and squash and stuff that give off a lot of scent, tomatoes, those type of veggies give off a lot of smell. Sweet stuff gives off a lot of smell that really calls in the pest. And so when you're using that, if you decide to do the herb garden, don't just have herbs in your kitchen window. Put some out in your garden. And so when you put them out in your garden, then it's a deterrent for the pests. because they be like, oh, that stinky stuff over there. Let's get out of here. So, it's good to put them out there. Your basil, sage, rosemary, just real pungent. Did I say sage? I think I did. Real pungent herbs, tarragon, whatever you like to cook with, though, it'll be good to diversify your garden, to have stuff in there. And then there's, you could do a little research on this. Some vegetables grow well with others. So I'll talk about that next week, next Wednesday, how to mix your garden and plant things that grow well together, because some things take more water than others. Some take more nutrients. So you want to have plants that are compatible, that you're growing next to in your garden. And they have these new things now that they call food forests. And you don't remove your plants at the end of the growing season. A lot of things will come back if you just shear it back, and some things grow and they don't die. And I'll talk about that another time too, because I want to stick to the subject about these pests, about pest control. So but that's real important, to knowing what to plant where and where in your yard. And you never want to have your garden close to a lot of foliage, a lot of flowers, a lot of bushes, by the trees, because all of your insects hide in that foliage. So what you want to do is if you got a raised bed or you're going to have a garden, you want it somewhere all by itself in wide open area, and because you want it to have sun at least 12 hours a day. So you don't want it around trees for that reason. But for the second reason, a lot of pests stay in trees, and then they come out of the trees and invade your gardens. So it's always good to plant in a wide open area. And also, it cuts down on mold in your garden. And mold in your garden is devastating. Mold will take over and kill everything. And I talked about that with using the baking soda and the vinegar, and one of them was peroxide. Not those mixed together, but I mean those three those three different products you mix separate, and they're good for killing mold and pests and other stuff. I had talked about that last week, so I don't want to go into that. But when you do that, you want to make sure that you have your stuff planted in the right areas, so that it can get good air circulation, because that air circulation cuts down on that mold, and you won't have a problem and have to worry about it. And when you water, in early daytime is the best time to water, because if you water in, like, say you got a sprinkler in your garden and you got it set on a timer, you want it to come on about 5:30 and run from 5:30 to 6:30, and then everything is got a good soaking, and then most of the water will be dried before the real serious hot sun hits it, to where it'll create that steam to cook your plants. So when you have it in an open area, when that breeze is blowing through it, it helps to dry the water off of the leaves. Because if you water your plant through a drip irrigation, that's where your leaves never get wet unless it rains. But it's watering through your soil, which is actually the best way to water. Is try to use if you're going to have a garden where you're going to have a irrigation set up for it, is drip. drip is very good. And then when you need to, or the plants need to be sprayed, then you can go and add it. Or if it rains, then it'll naturally get the leaves, because you do have to keep the leaves clean so that photosynthesis can happen. So let's move on. And this is another way that nature works with each other. When aphids and caterpillars and leaf-eating insects and pests eat in your garden, ants, you'll see a lot of ants, because the ants actually come up and they eat the secretions and the feces from the aphids and the caterpillars, because it has a sweet, sticky enzyme that they love. And so when the ants come up there and eat that, it actually helps the aphids and the leaf cutting insects and larvae that are eating your plants. So what you want to do about that is, at the base of the plant, take a finger full of Vaseline and just rub it at the bottom of your tomatoes or whatever plant stalk that you have that the aphids are on the plant. You rub that Vaseline on there, and the ants can't climb up on it. And so if they can't climb up on it, then they can't get the aphids and the bugs and help them. So when they're not helping remove their feces, it creates a bacteria. And so when they're eating their own feces, then eventually it'll make them sick because it gets toxic. So their lifespan is shortened. So that's another way that you can use that in your garden. And let me see, I'm just checking to see if anybody had any questions. Praying for your family, Alicia. What's going on?
She said, just keep my family in prayer in an earlier comment. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
I didn't see that.
Can you hear me, Turk?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay. I was saying, good morning, everybody. I'm finally back. It's been a long morning. I would have been in a lot earlier if I could have, but fortunately, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Y'all know that. So, good morning, Karen. Good morning, Alma. Good morning, Karen. Karen, thank you so much. That box, let me tell you something. I opened the box. At first, I went on open because I said, don't open it, Neely, because right now I ain't doing nothing with the homeless people right this instant, because I don't like having all that stuff around. But I said, just close the box back up when you open it. So thank you. Karen, you all, I just got to say thank you to her real quick. And Karen Dickerson sent me a box. I've had it, about 3 weeks now? Maybe a month? And she had been collecting stuff for the homeless, because I do to get to disseminate to the homeless here, because I do a lot of stuff for the homeless, like you guys would donate and supported me. That was phenomenal too for the holiday. Thank you. And she sent a box, and so she's collecting stuff, and then as she does, then she'll send boxes out. And so I am just really grateful for it, because toothbrush and toothpaste, the little pack thing in there, perfect. I mean, you know what? A lot of, in Karen, the gloves and stuff, nice. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you. And so, but I want to say this. It's in regard to that, and I'm gonna end it on that. It's just when you're homeless, everybody that's homeless is not homeless because they're on drugs.
They're on alcohol or drugs.
There are some people who are homeless who are having mental illness issues. And they really need some help, but no one has been in connection with those people. And a lot of times, the homeless populations, I think, across the world, there should be dedicated people who, in the medical field, I say, who can just reach out, go out and walk the land, of the homeless population. You know how they normally pool together in
Congregate,
areas.
yeah.
Yes. And so because of safety, it goes to show you how they even have a fear of things too, because they click together and they sleep and live together in communities, build those little communities within a neighborhood, in parks or whatever. But they live among each other because someone has to watch out for everybody. They know it takes someone to look out for them. That's one thing I'll tell you.
Because people dog the homeless. The people are really mean to homeless people.
I know. The guy was going around
There's
town.
a lot of homeless people that get murdered, and they don't even put it on the news or nothing.
Yeah,
they just disappear and don't nobody care.
There was a guy that was on the news. He was going around shooting homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they caught his butt, but they got him. But I'm going back to what I was saying. It's just that and sometimes people can be homeless because they're going through something and they have lost faith in and trust in other people that they could go to, or maybe they don't have anybody they can go to, and you just don't know what a person's situation is what I'm saying. And so I just want to say, don't be so quick to judge. If any of you've ever judged, if any of you have, maybe none of you have, but maybe some of you have, about a person being homeless, that it's because, they got themselves in that situation. Sometimes a person falls into that situation, and it's not something that they ultimately intended on. And
some people get pushed into homelessness.
Right. Some people can't.
It ain't always somebody high.
And then they have a pride about themselves and they get evicted. They lost their jobs or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And now they're evicted. But they don't want to go to their family and tell them,
it's going to be a lot more homeless folks. You know how high rent is now?
And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So,
and it's just because their ass is greedy.
Right. I do things because I just don't know, because I've been there. And, my situation was different. And the people I was around, their situation was different. Yeah. Yeah. I put myself there, but they didn't put themselves there. I mean,
you ain't put yourself there. The Iran-Contra deal and how they flooded the black neighborhoods with crack cocaine was a planned pandemic, just like the COVID.
COVID, yeah.
It was government regulated.
Yeah, and it was in the writings. It's in documentation too.
It's in a TV series. the truth come out after the people that was involved died.
Mm-hmm. Always.
When Ollie North and all of that stuff, back then. Mm-hmm. And once all of them people died, why do you all of the stuff will come out after 10 years, 20 years from now, after all these old farts is dead that's been doing all the corrupt stuff, then they'd all come out who did what and when and all that.
But that's how it works, though, y'all.
And they'll make a movie.
Right. He's right. He's so right. Because he's definitely right, Turk. That's definitely how it works. After that, here's the movie. Oh, on the major screen, on the big screen movie, what I'm saying? In theaters near you, coming to a theater near you. How we enslaved niggas all our lives.
Yeah.
How we impose things on niggas to make them oppress them and suppress them all at the same time. Oh, coming to a theater near you. And
it ain't just Africoid people, it's everybody that's melanated. And it's according to the brown bag law. The lighter you are, the better you're received. The darker you are, the worse it is on you because of the melanin in your skin, because they know what that melanin represents, power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you know what? It's understandable. You got to look at things. I was just sitting here and was on the homeless thing for a moment, but getting off of that and getting on to something else about.
No, T, don't get off on nothing else. Let me put this recipe out here for this spray, and then we can talk about everything.
Get there. Recipe for a spray. Yeah, get the recipe.
Yep. Because I already talked about everything else. All I need to do is give them this recipe for this pesticide. And it's an all natural pesticide for your garden. And you can use it every 6 to 10 days and you got to spray it on the top of the plant and under the plant and on the soil. And all you need is neem oil. And when you get your neem oil, order it online and get it natural grade with the azadirachtin. It's a chemical in it that comes from the neem tree. They take it out of it for human consumption because it can upset your digestive tract. So, but you want it for your garden. It's not going to harm you when you spraying it on your vegetables because it's not going to penetrate. You're not going to taste it. None of that. So you just want to get you some neem oil and with the azadirachtin in it, and peppermint oil and rosemary oil. The purpose for the peppermint and the rosemary oil is for the scent. It's going to throw off the smell in your garden for pests. Remember earlier I was saying that pests can smell the deterioration of green, and that's what draws them to your garden. When you start to get the little dead leaves on the bottom, then those leaves start to call in the aphids and the leaf cutter ants and the white flies and sideweb worms. It's a host of them out there, all of the pests. And so the mixture for this is 1 tablespoon of neem oil, 1 tablespoon of neem oil, a half a teaspoon of peppermint oil, and a half a teaspoon of rosemary oil. And you want to take about a tablespoon of, about a half a teaspoon of dishwashing liquid. You just want to put enough dishwashing liquid in there so when you use an oil, and oil and water don't mix, but when you put the soap in there, put a little Dawn in there, it'll break it down to where the oil and the water will mix together. So when you shake it up and spray it, it'll adhere to the plant. So you want to spray it under the plant and on the top. And this is for a half a gallon of water. So if you got a backpack sprayer that's 2 gallons, then to use the same measurements, but just increase it per, half a gallon. So if you were going to do a gallon, it would be 2 tablespoons of neem oil, a whole teaspoon of the rosemary, and a whole teaspoon of the peppermint oil. And probably be a whole tablespoon of dishwashing liquid. So put that in there and make sure you shake it up good so it break that oil down so that when you spray it, you get neem oil and soap and the peppermint oil and all of that stuff on the whole plant and the ground. And you use that every 6 to 10 days until you stop seeing pests. When you stop seeing pests, stop spraying it. Or if it rains, you're getting a lot of water, or you get your watering system, when your sprinkler system, when you water it a lot, you're going to have to come back at least every 6 days. But if you're not getting a lot of water, or if you have a drip irrigation system in your garden, then you don't have to spray it as much. So you could spread that out to every 10 days because you're not using as much water. So it's not removing the neem off and the oils off of it. So that's it. That's all I wanted to put out there today. Oh, and make sure you don't spray this in the heat of the day, because with that oil, you're going to cook your plants. Oh, and one more thing. When you first make your mixture, wait 24 hours before you spray your whole garden, and spray maybe 1 plant so that you can see that it's not going to harm your garden. So if you make a batch and you don't get the measurements right and you spray your whole garden and it kill everything, now you have no garden. So you want to spray one plant after you make your mixture and let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, so everything is mixed up, shake it up again, and spray one plant, underside, top side, and the ground, and let it sit. When you come out in the morning, if it's still looking strong and standing tall, then you go ahead on and spray your whole garden with it. But always do a test with any mixture. Even with the peroxide mixtures that I gave you, the vinegar mixtures, the baking soda mixtures, you always want to do a test first. You don't want to just throw up, mix it up and then spray your whole garden and then you ruin it. So that's it for our gardening segment today. Next week.
Selvin's Kitchen just joined. Turk. He said, "What's going on, my brothers and sisters? Happy Wednesday."
Hey, what's up?
Jonathan said, before we leave this, what we were just talking about with this mixture, Jonathan said Amazon has a neem oil insecticide spray. Is that the same thing?
Get pure neem oil. You don't want an insecticide spray. All you want is neem oil with the azadirachtin in it. Ask for that one.
Neem oil with what?
Azadirachtin. I don't know how to spell it, and I'm probably not even saying it totally right. But if you put in azadirachtin, or if you speak it into your phone, it'll pop it up. It's a chemical that comes from the neem tree, because neem oil comes from a tree. All this stuff is natural. Ain't none of these chemicals synthetic. They're not man-made. Right. These are all made by the creator. These are natural ways. The only synthetic thing y'all be using
is dishwashing liquid, and you can also get a natural dishwashing liquid.
Sure does. Melaleuca got it. I got some.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Randall's got
and Dawn, you can use Dawn all day. Just don't use the one with the bleach, and don't use the foam one. You got to use the original blue, plain Dawn, not the platinum plus extra, just regular Dawn. Mm-hmm. That's what they clean ducks with and all kind of animals when they caught in oil spills. And that was originally what it was made for.
Jonathan said, "Oh, I can't spell that big word. Probably
I can't
pronounce it either." He wasn't doing that.
It's azadirachtin.
Him try. We don't know if him said it right or not, because I'm
saying it pretty much. I'm saying it pretty much right. It's azadirachtin.
Azadirachtin. Azadirachtin. ASIDOR. ECTANT.
It's an R in there somewhere.
Like an expectorant, but
azadirachtin.
Like an expectorant in a cough syrup, but it's not.
Yep.
Azadirachtin. Okay. Yep. So we'll find it.
When you couple it with the neem oil question, they're gonna automatically know what you're talking about. If you say neem oil with azadirachtin, it's gonna pop it up. Boop.
Pop up.
Yep. And that's what you want.
Yep.
So if there's no questions I see in the chats, I'm turning this over to Nilla and drink my coffee, and that's a whole hour already. Oh, you gonna pray today? Because I am done.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm sorry I couldn't. Y'all know normally Monday through Wednesday ain't my days anyway, but Thursdays and Fridays is, but Mondays through Wednesdays ain't. And some Thursdays and Fridays might get caught up too. Depends on how the training goes. I know during the holiday on a Thursday, if the holiday falls on a Monday, we train on Thursday, so that means we move a day back, and so a day ahead, and so instead of training Monday through Wednesday, it'd be Tuesday through Thursday. So then that's the only Thursdays that I would not be able to join. But for right now, but normally I've just been peeking in. It was supposed to be his show Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday we
could
come
you
together.
tell Marjorie, will she get rid of them old bananas out of the green room? Because it's fruit flies everywhere.
Oh, hold on. Let me let her know that. Hold on. I'm going to send her a message. Let me send her a message. Hold on.
Selvin Pigeon, we was talking about organic gardening, pest control today.
In the green room because there's a bunch of gnats in there and fruit flies.
Tell her to take some of that blackstrap molasses and put some rubbing alcohol in it and stir it up and put it in an old top of a bowl or something and set it in there, and they'll fly into it and get attracted and get drunk and then drown.
Hold on, wait, let me see. Let me get this over too. Hold on.
You could probably do it with some Miss Butterworth or log cabin, anything sweet and syrupy and thick.
Okay, let's see. Let me give them my face. I just let her know. I'm gonna see what she responds.
I know she's gonna text me.
Turk say, please get rid of that. So everybody, today is what? Wednesday, May the 11th. Y'all.
Nurses Week.
2022 just popped in. Happy Nurses Week, nurses. Let's congratulate our nurses first and foremost of all, because you all have been the front line.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Debbie for the past 2 or 3 years.
Is that good for regular black flies? She said, is that good for regular black flies? Turk.
Yeah, it'll attract them and get them drunk and they'll drown too.
Here's Marjorie's response. She laughed, got the look. She said, "Will do."
Will do.
Don't get fired. Don't get fired again. Look, I fire every week. He said, thank you. Happy Nurses Week. Jonathan said, thank you. Happy Nurses Week to all of you all too. And of course, Jonathan is a nurse also in the cardiac department. So it's
too bad we couldn't have him on for a few.
Jonathan,
but he had
pop in for a brief second so we can say, thanks, Jonathan. Because we want to honor nurses. Good morning, Waynezo. What's up? We are honoring nurses this week. We're saying congratulations and thank you so much for all you do, because this is National Nurse Week. Congratulator Nurse Week. And we just want to say thank you to all the nurses. Let me tell y'all something. Think about this. Whoever has ever had to grace a hospital or a clinic, your doctor's appointment, and there was a nurse there taking your blood, doing all your vitals, and listen,
getting your shot in the culo.
Right. Now think about being cursed out and all kind of stuff they go through.
Yeah.
Getting you prepared for the doctor to come in and tell you what's going on. But think about the pandemic we just had. The pandemic right there should make you all be totally grateful and appreciative of your nurses and your doctors, those who took care of you.
Putting their life on the line.
I ain't gonna say all of them that's in that field have that passion and that, that compassion and passion and that bedside manner. But you have to give them credit if they were there every day doing their job throughout this pandemic when it first started, and didn't nobody know jack about what was going on. Didn't nobody know jack about what was going on. Everybody was in disarray. They was all discombobulated. They were like, "What the hell? We don't know all that. No, it's
Yeah, a
guard
lot.
up,
Wayne's gonna say a
mask
lot of
up."
nurses walked
You
off
know
of
what I'm
their job.
saying?
Yeah, they did because they didn't want to put their life on the line. And shoot,
Yeah,
if you about to retire and you got enough time to retire, why would you?
you right. I probably
And
would
they
have walked
already
off too. I
telling
don't
you
know.
it's attacking the elderly harder than it is anybody else.
Anybody
Elderly
else?
and people whose immune systems
All right,
are
jeopardize.
weakened. Yep,
Yeah,
or
you know.
underlying
So
conditions.
to
So
honor nurses this week, this is National Nurse Week. Honor your nurses week. You know what I'm saying? To honor the nurses and just say thank you to everybody. I'll go global. This is the national global reach, my show. Thank you, nurses from all around the world, all of those who still stood, and stayed with throughout the pandemic.
all of the nurses
Thank
that
you.
helped me when I was in the hospital in
And
Vegas,
those who didn't
and I
stuck, stood,
still
and
know their
stayed.
names: Daniel, Marie,
Thank you.
Bernadette,
That's a blessing.
and one of them I can't remember how to say her name, but she was from India. Um, I appreciate you, and thanks for keeping me on the planet, and nice bedside manner and everything. I had some good people working with me. That wasn't nothing but God, because you can get some folks in there that don't give a damn and treat you like crap when you're in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Turk. So is that concentration on the screen? Is that good for black flies?
No, that spray is for aphids, white fly larvae, leaf cutting insects. That's a garden spray. You can't use that in your house, even though
Okay.
you could, but it'll ruin your furniture and everything else.
Yeah, because peppermint is
That's an
strong.
outdoors spray product for gardening. It's not for house plants. If you want to get rid of regular flies,
Peppermint is strong.
you can use syrup and put alcohol in it, and it'll draw them to it. Or you could just go to Home Depot and buy the little fly strips and hang them up,
Yeah.
and let them. That ain't nothing but a beta attractant, the same thing. And when they
And the
get on it,
reason
it's just
is,
it's so sticky they can't fly away. It makes their wings stick together.
and the
But if you
reason
want to
is
spray
because
something, like you got flies and you just want to spray, buy you some hairspray, aerosol, and shake it up good. And every time you see a fly, just hit him with it. You ain't got to spray a lot. All you need is enough to hit him when he's in flight. And what it does, that hairspray is a stiffener in it. And when it stiffens their wings, they can't fly. And then they'll just fall down. And then you can just kill them. You can just pick them up with a paper towel or a napkin, but it's got to be the type of hairspray that stiffens, like Aquanet or whatever that stuff is. Any type of hairspray that freezes your hair to make it stiff. It can't be a mousse. It's got to be in an aerosol can. Yep, and you can use that to drop your flies. But then you don't want that stuff. You don't want to be spraying that stuff in your kitchen. That's why I try to use attractants for house flies and fruit flies. And fruit flies come from out of your sink. So at least once a week during the summer, if you have a garbage disposal, run bleach and hot water through your garbage disposal. So run your hot water real hot, then stop, add the bleach, let it run through for about 5 minutes, put about a cup of bleach, and then you go buy some dollar store bleach. Wayne's say his mother used wine coolers on the patio, and they'll catch all the flies and the mosquitoes and the bees. You don't want to kill the bees, though. You want the pollinators. So I wouldn't use that. Or if I did, I would use it in the house. I wouldn't use it outside, because if it's killing pollinators, you'll destroy the ecosystem, killing the pollinators. And see, that neem oil and all that stuff don't kill pollinators. That's why I like to use organic products. It won't harm the pollinators. Butterflies, it won't kill bees, and it won't kill ladybugs, even though they're not pollinators, but those are good predator bugs. Neem oil don't kill them, but you don't, if, like I was saying, if you release predator insects in your garden, then you don't want to spray once you release them in there. Let them do their job. They will eat the aphids. And but to catch those flies, just all you need is something sweet with alcohol in it, and it'll attract them. And once they get drunk, they'll just fall off in it and drown. Yep. So, but that's a good way to do it outside, and it'll kill them. The only bad thing is that it gets the bees. I don't want to harm no bees. Mosquitoes and flies, I ain't got no problem with killing. Yep, but the bees, we want to kind of save them. Yep. Oh, and check this out. When you water in your garden, I repeat, do not use plain tap water. When you use that plain tap water, there's so much chlorine in it, your plants are going to be weak. And if you don't have no choice, you don't have well water on your property, and you don't have no filtration system to get the chlorine out of the water, fill up a 5-gallon bucket of water and get you some powdered vitamin C, and add you about a spoon, about the size of like a Kool-Aid that you stir up Kool-Aid with, or your beans or something when you're cooking, the big spoons that you use for stirring your pots. You want to use that, about that much, to 5 gallons, and stir the water up and let it sit until the next morning. Or when you're going to water the following day, do it the day before and let it sit all night. And it'll help remove the chlorine from the water. I just found that out today. Last night. I had called my boss from the garden, Jim Smith, and I was asking him about some organic ways for pest control, and watering, and soil mixtures, and nutrients, and stuff like that. And so he gave me some of this information. He gave me the neem oil mixture. I knew about neem oil. I actually have neem oil, but I never knew to mix the peppermint and the rosemary oils in it, because the scent throws off the smell of your garden to the insects. So if they don't smell it, they're not coming. I didn't know that. So that was some information. So kudos to Jim. I can't hear you. You muted.
He said, hey, did you see what Lil Wayne's said? He said, my mother used to use wine coolers on the patio. Wayne, we used to use it too, beer or wine coolers.
Yeah.
We did too, especially golden champagne. Oh, baby. And my mom remember the golden champagne. She would leave a little bit, because see, here's the thing. They gonna go inside that bottle snout. She leave a little bit in that bottle. And my dad put that little bit, go about that much golden champagne in that bottle with a little soap and a little honey. Not honey, but syrup. My daddy put in there. Actually, it wasn't syrup. It was actually the corn syrup. You know the corn syrup our grandparents used.
Karo syrup.
Karo syrup. Yep, Karo syrup. Exactly, Karo syrup. And he put a little bit of that Karo syrup in and make it good, sticky and gooey. So when they get in it, once they hit it, it's a done deal.
They ain't coming out.
They stuck.
Yep.
So it was a bunch of bees and flies in that bottle. Man, my father, we used to love to
And
watch.
see, that's why I don't use it, because it attract and kill the bees. They too important to the environment to kill. Because those are the pollinators. Without them, you have no flowers, you have no plants, you have no trees, you have nothing without pollinators. If the pollinators die, we die, because we are all connected.
Yep. It said, and Debbie said, ain't nothing like a good medical staff when you are in the hospital. We talked about when we were honoring our nurses and stuff. And she also said, Turk, repeat the about
5 gallons of
5-gallon
water,
bucket,
and then
add what to the water?
A large spoon that you would use in your pots for cooking, and put vitamin C powder in it, and let it sit overnight, and it'll deplete the chlorine that they have in the water. Now, I don't know what it does for the fluoride, because I catch rain. This is what I do. I catch rainwater. And the water bottles that we use for drinking water, we fill those up, me and my brother, and we might have 100 of them suckers sitting out there. We have a lot of rainwater out there. They just be stacked up, and then we use it. And it's natural. It makes your plants healthier. I had a Venus flytrap that I had brought from work, and it was very small. It was an adolescent, and it had started getting big. I had got it to grow about maybe 4 or 5 inches. And I would just sit it outside and let it attract insects and eat on its own. But when I brought it in, I would take little bitty pieces of hamburger and drop in there. And that's how I would feed it. But I told everybody, don't water it, because it's a bog plant. It has to stay in water constantly. So if you use tap water, killed it immediately. Immediately.
I bet it did.
Day, the whole plant was black. 24 hours. That chlorine and fluoride wiped it out. And it's a lot of plants like that.
Wow. Yep. I had a plant that I used kitchen sink water before.
I'm sorry, T. I'm laughing at JB. JB say Cairo syrup was the only syrup he knew until he joined the army.
So he also said never heard of Nemo.
And never heard of Nemo till today.
He said he had been educated. Yep. Stick around. You'll learn something.
Wisdom Wednesdays.
It is Wisdom Wednesday. You're getting a little bit of wisdom here. Take it on home with you.
Yeah, and this is wisdom you want to pass to your grandkids and your children. Teach your kids how to grow something.
Take that to the bank.
Because if it's like teaching somebody to fish, if you know how to grow, you can eat.
Yep. Take that to the
bank.
And
you don't need no grocery store. All you need, and women, you could be homeless. If you got a someplace off where you could grow where nobody is messing with it, you can grab scraps from off a table when they go to where they got salads and collect the tomatoes, onions, whatever they got. If they ain't cut the bottom off, and if you got seeds, you could slice a tomato and start tomato plants.
Yep.
You can eat.
They got a guy online now selling a whole thing about table scraps and how to start a garden. He's selling his little booklet online. I ran across it.
Greedy. That's smart, but that's greedy. It's too much information for free.
I said, talk about this on my show.
You ain't got to pay for that.
Just watch the show, y'all. Watch the show.
That's all. Don't look. It ain't cost you a penny.
Watch the show, and if you miss something, go back and look at the show again. It's right there for you to go back in to the archive and look at the show.
And you can fast forward and back it up and all that to the spot you need.
Yeah, that's it. Don't forget, y'all, hit those thumbs up for me. Please hit those thumbs up. All of you all who are here on YouTube, hit those thumbs up. And the reason I say that is because I'm looking at YouTube right now. 6 people watching. Hit them thumbs up. Hit them thumbs up. Yes. Thumbs up. Even I go in there and hit the thumbs up for me. Why not? Hit them thumbs up. Also, today, once again, she said, my daughter turns 21 this year, and I want to give her something for her to grow and nourish. Any suggestions? Give her a herb garden. That way, it's nourishing her like she's nourishing it. You know what I'm saying? And that way, that will help her. There's the neem oil Turk wants to show everybody. That's what he's talking about. I think that's yeah, that's burnout.
This is straight. Yeah, you have to mix this. And you see it says fungicide, milticide, and insecticide. So that means it kills fungus, it kills mites, it kills mold, all of that. This is a very good product. And this is expensive. I spent $32 for this.
That's a gallon.
This is all natural organic neem oil with the azadirachtin in it.
Okay.
Yep.
So Debbie posted, she said, oh, Luanzo first said, Turk, do you remember my father had the garden on 107th off
yeah.
by the railroad tracks? Yep.
Yeah.
He had everything growing over there.
Wait a minute, he had one in the field on our block on 108th as well. And he had one on the side of Terry Moore's daddy.
Yeah, he used to keep that food growing, baby. Yeah. Yep. I even took tomatoes and stuff home from over there.
Luanzo daddy was a player too. Pretty boy. He was the Indian. I'm guarantee you they Indians. I know that for a fact. Them was straight up some Africoid Indians from right here on Turtle Island.
Wayne, you need to be getting a blood test to see which native tribe you related to.
They're not. If you don't have any Asiatic blood in you, they're not going to consider you an Indian. Because if they did that and told the truth, then they would have to give us the same reparations and tax
and
cuts
land.
and land and stuff that they did to regular American Indians. And that's why they keeping it hidden from black people.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine if we could go and open up us a gambling casino on water? We got a lot of black billionaires now. We got a lot of black folk with money. We could open up some casinos, but they don't want blacks to be prominent like that. So, you know, all these people do that DNA ancestry. I don't believe none of that shit that they be talking about.
I'm sorry, I don't believe that either. I shows don't. I got to get ready to get back to the workforce, everybody. But let me tell you, he said he's Blackfoot. Debbie said, my daughter turns 21 this year, and I want to give her something for her to grow and nourish. Any suggestions? And I suggested a herb garden, because not only can she grow and nourish it, but it will also nourish you.
He Blackfoot.
So have a herb garden. So Debbie, that's what I would suggest to you. She said her daughter turned 21. So read that message. And so I was 21.
Women, remember earlier I told you to diversify your garden, grow some tomatoes, some squash, and put your herbs amongst that stuff, because it keeps the pest away, because they don't like the smell of it. And this neem oil, you can spray this stuff on your plants. It's not going to penetrate the plant to the point where you're going to be tasting neem oil. And they have human grade neem oil that you can take yourself. Yeah. It's a natural oil that has beneficial and what do they call it? Stuff that's not antibacterial.
Anti-fungicidal.
It's all of that for plants, but for humans, it's for
Antimicrobial.
It's antimicrobial. It kills pests in your body. What do they call it when I can't remember right now. What they call it.
Antiparasitic.
That's close to what they call it. It's something about parasite.
She said, "Where do you get an herb garden? I don't have a garden. This is for her to grow and take care
of. You could grow it in your window in the kitchen
if
you got a patio.
It's for her daughter." She said it ain't for her to grow. It's for her daughter.
Her daughter is 21 years old. She ain't no baby though. It's not no little kid. She talking about a grown woman. So if she got a patio, she got an apartment. If she got an apartment,
she lives home with her mama.
Okay, well, they got to figure out where they're going to put the garden at, whether they want it in a pot, a raised bed, or in the ground.
Hold on.
DM me. Let me know. DM me. I'll hook you up. Call me. I'll DM me and I'll shoot you my number and you call me on Messenger, or if you got Duo, because I ain't got no iPhone, call me on Duo. We'll pick a spot in your yard or your patio where you want to grow it. I'll show you what to get and everything else. And that's free. Look, and that's free. I can't leave you cheap.
For her daughter to grow, she need to be there with you when she make that phone call. Because it ain't for her to grow. It's for her daughter to grow. She didn't say she want to grow. She's her daughter. So she want to give her something to nurture and raise, which is really good. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good idea.
It's very rewarding to grow.
Yep. Grand risings. Hey, Tracy, good morning to you. So everybody, I'm going to go into prayer real quick because I got to get back to work. They're waiting on me. I just want to say, reach back and give back, people. God, somebody out there needs your smile, a kind word, a prayer, a bottle of water, maybe a sandwich, maybe a few dollars. If you got cigarettes, they would need a cigarette. Give them one. Give them two. And somebody might need an apple or a candy bar or something. If something puts it on your spirit to give something away to someone that is in need or out begging or asking, as you call it, do it. Let it go. And if you don't have anything to give them, and you got a couple of dollars, just give them a couple of dollars. Don't worry about what they're going to do with it. That's between them and God. You did what the Spirit guided you to do. You let it go. So also remember this. God loves you. We got to all learn to love ourselves so that we can love each other so much more than what we do, and trust and believe, each other. It's just a thing of trust and believing in each other as Blacks. First of all, that's a road we have to still travel, and a wall we have to cross. A road we have to cross, and a river we have to cross, and a lake, and a ocean as well. Right now, but we can get by. We got to start working with each other. We have information that is. Listen, we built the damn world. Why would you not think what we say is good and true? So we just, as a group of people, not just on this show, as a group of people in life, we have to start working with each other. We really do. We really do. So think about that, people, okay? Also, another thing, y'all ought to know. Love, peace, soul, and hair grease. And if your scalp is itching, you better wash before you condition. But in the meantime and in between time, let me go into this prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord, for another brand new day. Another day that we have been graced with to enjoy, live, love through, experience, learn, laugh, live. We can just do what we need to do. And we're grateful that we have this moment that we can share among the platforms, the social media platforms that are built for us to connect. We're grateful that you woke us up this morning in our right minds, protected us, our homes, our places of employment, our businesses, our properties, our family members, our pets. We're thankful for all of this. We're thankful for the information that's imparted through the show and through sources that are here to help. We thank you for those helpers that you place in our path. We thank you for life. We thank you for love. We thank you for laughter. We thank you for learning. We thank you for faith. We thank you for strength. We thank you for health. We thank you for the things that we forget to thank you for. Hallelujah. And Heavenly Father, as we go about our day, please go before us. Continue to watch over us and guide and direct us. Clear the paths that we tread upon, the roads that we travel, and the airways that we may be flying through, making our arrivals and destinations safe, sound, and complete. And Lord, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you, and we honor you, and we give you all the glory and all the praise. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Debbie say,
Ashe.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She's eating very healthy and is very interested in growing something. I'm trying to give her something to care for other than bringing an animal in this house.
If she if she wants something to nurture and you don't want no dog or a cat, get her a fish tank.
Because you got to clean them suckers.
But you don't have to clean it, but maybe every 6 months. Just don't put it nowhere where it's getting direct sunlight all day. And then you don't have to clean it as much. And then it's according to what kind of fish you put in it too. Goldfish are nasty. So it's they eat doo-doo and they doo-doo. And so your tank is going to be nasty real fast. And get you an under the gravel filter and it'll suck all of the doo-doo up under there. And then it'll get sucked out and into your, it sucks it all down in the ground. And then you buy a vacuum hose. And when you start the vacuum, you set it up over the tube of your under the gravel filter and it'll suck all the dookie out. I know Tia, y'all used to have 150-gallon tanks, 2 or 3 of them, plenty of fish tanks everywhere. In my bedroom, in the living room.
Yep. What was them other ones you had? You had piranhas.
African cichlids.
Yeah, them cichlids. I couldn't remember that. I'll never remember that because I don't hear nobody else talk about African cichlids. Yeah, but I knew you had them piranhas and them other ones. Them suckers that was killers. Killers.
You drop look, we'll get high and then drop the goldfish in there and watch the piranhas eat them.
Don't feed them for the day. Don't feed them and put a goldfish in there.
And they be still swimming with all their tail cut off. Look like they've been hit with a straight razor, clean cut.
The little tail just be flipping in the water. He's a sick-minded individual. He a sick scientist. He's a mad scientist. That's nature.
That's nature. That's all natural. They're part of the ecosystem in the food chain.
Hey, everybody. God bless everybody. Peace on earth to everybody. We're going to see y'all tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or what? Be square on what? In my element. We're on who? Nilla and who? We'll be here tomorrow morning, y'all. Tomorrow is Thursday. Wake up being thankful. Wake up being thankful because tomorrow is Thursday. God bless. God bless. God bless. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Hello.